Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Blair, or the Illuminati, and in today's video we're going to be talking about an MLM I'm sure most of you are familiar with if you've ever watched my MLM Mondays, Younique. Making fun of their hilarious makeup artists with their spidery lashes, crusty faces, and unfortunate eyeshadow decisions has brought me a little too much joy on this channel actually. But what about the company? Who is Younique? Why do they think these looks are cute? Do their products work? And what makes this company a bigger problem than it seems on the surface? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about as we dig into Younique's history. So let's get right into the tea, guys. Younique was founded in 2012 by Melanie Huscroft and Derek Maxfield. In just 2.5 years, they had over 200,000 presenters, their term for their Hunbots, and plans for an expensive new facility. This company skyrocketed, no doubt about it, but why did that happen? Is it because their products are incredible, life-changing, and has fantastic reviews? No. Tori Poulter, chief sales officer, said in a She Finds interview that she thinks Younique has grown so fast in 5 years because of the community of like-minded women who are inspired every day to reach their true potential and achieve things they've always dreamed of. MLM strikes again, folks. It's the same story with Herbalife. These companies grow and expand so quickly, and it's almost frightening. Younique relies on their downline, on its presenters. Just like any other MLM, recruitment is a priority, so more than their products. But hey, at least they get paid within 3 hours of making a sale, so maybe that makes it all worth potentially losing thousands of dollars for these people to sign up. Right? Now, before we take a look at their products, lawsuits, and so-called charity that they run, we're going to take a look at what it even takes to be a Younique presenter and what some of their claims are. So to start, I went straight to the source, Younique's website. On their presenter info, I noticed something similar.
Our mission is to uplift, empower, and validate women.
You know, I feel like I've heard a very similar thing like that from Pure Romance. It sounds like these mission statements are getting pretty generic, using buzzwords like empower women to try and seem greater than they are, but it's only been 15 seconds in, so let's keep going.
Our products combine the best that nature and science have to offer.
Yeah, okay. We'll come back to that one. And then,
Younique is better than anything that I've ever used.
Sure it is. Maybe she hasn't tried much makeup. Who's to say? The rest of the video has some pretty cringeworthy moments, like a woman walking through a gym and randomly giving one woman a pat on the back and the other a thumbs up without any context. The next is a teacher saying she stayed for the sisterhood while walking around her classroom and telling a lone student, "Good job." They talk very briefly about the Younique Foundation and tell you how to be successful your first month as a presenter. They list, announce your new business on social media. Even though they're the ones with the business, you're someone's downline, but sure, let's keep it moving here. Host a virtual party. Become familiar with the products. Plug into your upline and sponsor someone. I love how none of this actually tips on how to sell the product. If you rely for online sales for your business and nothing else, you'd think they'd tell you how to market to people aside from your friends and family. On the same page, you can purchase their starter kit for $99 and begin selling. $99 certainly isn't the worst I've seen that you have to pay up front to start an MLM, but let me reiterate that anyone as an employee should not have to pay to work somewhere. That's not how a job is supposed to go, especially when there's no guarantee you'll make that money back. At least not for another 8 to 9 months. But this is all pretty standard for an MLM. They expand at extreme rates, convince people to become part of their downline, and seemingly offer little to no real training. How sad is that I've come to this as the standard for MLMs? What's different about Younique, according to them at least, are the empowerment, sisterhood, and later charity aspects, so let's see how that works to start. I'm going to jump straight into some numbers here, and we won't really dwell on this for too long. I'm sure a lot of my viewers are familiar with the scam that comes with MLMs and how little you actually get paid, but for those of you who might not be, let me go over a couple things. It is virtually impossible to earn a living without a gigantic downline inside an MLM. I'll say it again for the people in the back. It is virtually impossible to earn a living without a gigantic downline. 2 websites did the calculations here based on Younique's own 2016 figures. On the realistic end, from Talented Ladies Club, the average Younique presenter earned $9 in a month. $9. That is barely $100 a year. Out of a pool of 100,000 presenters, less than 20 will even make $1,000 a month, and that's before expenses. The finance guy calculated the abysmal numbers and said in his 2018 calculations, Younique told us that they now, in 2018, have almost 1 million presenters worldwide. That tells us that on average, each presenter received around $87.39 for the entire year of 2016. While it's possible that they had less presenters 2 years ago in 2016, let's pretend they only had 500,000. At this level, the average annual income for Younique presenters was $174.70. This may be a system which offers financial reward, but on average, Younique presenters are making less than $4 a week. Even if we pretended they had even less, only 250,000 of presenters, and divided that number among the less amount of people, even $8 a week would just be 1 to 2 hours of work at a typical minimum wage job. I just want to know how they think that's empowering. What about that is empowering to women? Don't get me wrong, I like makeup. I think it can be relaxing, an art form, entertaining, and yes, even empowering. But what about peddling Younique to your friends and family over Facebook to get a free coffee every week empowers anybody? Like, who? Younique themselves says in the description of their video, Younique is more than a company. We are a sisterhood of women connected by a mutual love of beauty, family, flexibility, and having a great time. While one might argue that this could be the empowering women part they're talking about, to me it comes across more of an MLM with some really weird cultish behavior. There's nothing wrong with selling makeup, going to parties, having fun, and all the generic smiling shots they seem to have set up here in this video. If you want to dive for t-shirts from a cannon and strike poses in front of a wall of cowboy hats, hey, go for it, sis, you do you. But there is something wrong with a company that is aggressive and downright cruel to their employees. In an article from The Guardian titled, "They Have You in a Cultish Grip," multiple women come forward with similar experiences about being in the company. From 2015 to 2018, Lindsay spent 40 pounds to 60 pounds every month on stock to retain her yellow presenter status. Though she initially made some sales at the hospital where she worked, Lindsay was let go from the NHS in spring 2015 because of missed shifts covered by stress. She had been caring for her parents since 2011. Her mother passed away from cancer in 2012, while her father had Parkinson's and suffered from 3 strokes before his death in 2018. Though she stopped making Younique sales after using her job, Lindsay wanted to retain her presenter status because she was planning to go to university and had hoped she'd be able to sell to fellow students. Meanwhile, Younique kept encouraging her to buy stock. They would email saying, "You're in danger of your account being suspended," she says. They were worded in such a way to tell you, oh, you only need to spend so much to keep yourself active. Lindsay said she didn't notice how much money she was spending on stock because it was a slow drip, drip, drip of payments. But when you look at it all together, I could have saved up and I could have done roof repairs on the house. In 2015, Lindsay attended a Younique training session in Glasgow where she was told not to come with excuses about being unable to sell products. It was made clear to me at that point that I had no get-out clause for not making sales. Unsold makeup now sits in Lindsay's car, in her cupboards, and in a large plastic container in her living room. These kinds of stories get me so furious with MLMs. In so many MLM Mondays, we've seen the kind of unsympathetic people that try to take advantage of someone's sadness or distress or hardships in life. Normal companies, normal businesses just simply aren't doing things like this. I don't have some MAC Cosmetics representative knocking down my door for me to buy makeup when I'm going through a rough time. But here's this woman recovering from one parent's death and going through another's illness that soon led to his, and her company that is so empowering tells her she needs to keep purchasing stock. And she's not the only one, to no one's surprise, honestly. Amelia Tate at The Guardian writes, "Kirsty, a 27-year-old from London, tells me, I got suckered into Younique due to the promise of sisterhood being so strongly pushed onto me. I suffer with bipolar, so I don't really make a lot of friends that easily," she says over the phone. A Facebook friend told her she would have access to a group chat of over 300 people who supported each other. And that was appealing, she tells me. Yet Kirsty quickly found the group chat toxic. One woman said her husband was telling her to get a regular job because they were losing money. But the group was bizarre, telling her he was controlling and abusive, she alleges. It also got really bitchy. One girl wasn't making enough sales, and they made her feel bad in front of everyone. Rachel lost friendships because she pestered people every 5 minutes to sign up for Younique. She was told that if someone said no, she should write their name in a book called No for Now and then ask them again in a month. Because I was encouraged to pester people every 5 minutes to sign up, friendships disappeared. A different woman, Rachel, says, "They said your business is a roller coaster. You have to stay on it while it goes up and down," she explains. But actually it just went down, down, down. Rachel's upline said her mindset was to blame when business was bad, linking her to seminars and success stories and telling her that she had to attend online training sessions or she would fail. There was a lot of emotional blackmail, she says. "I would feel really guilty if I didn't attend fortnightly meetings." She says her upline encouraged her to stay away from people who criticize the company, including her own family. They said, "If you don't work on your mindset, your business will fail," she said. These are only 3 examples of women, just 3, that have gotten out of Younique and told their stories. Now, aside from their toxic and cultish sisterhood that they've got going on, Younique obviously sells makeup products. Even if they had fantastic products, I couldn't condone what they've done, but at the very least, it would explain why they've stayed around, right? I'm not a makeup guru or a makeup reviewer here, but I absolutely know enough as a makeup user to know that a $29 mascara is on the higher end of things. According to Sephora's list of luxury mascaras, you can get some fantastic ones for $20, $22, $26, etc. $29.50 is the highest their list goes, and that's from a very well-known company like Dior. Still, I tried to be fair and looked up Younique on YouTube to find some results. Not just about their spidery lashes, but their other products as well. And well, there's plenty of reasons aside from their MLM pyramid scheme not to buy their products. After sifting through presenter reviews, I managed to find a few honest ones. Now remember, this is the best that science and nature has to offer, according to their own company anyway. One woman named Megan, who isn't even a YouTuber, made a video specifically to try and stop the inundation of Younique Hunbots on YouTube so that people could see a real review.
I do not 110% hate this foundation, but I did recently buy the Tarte Rainforest and the Sea foundation, and it is ridiculous when you compare the two and how long they last, the coverage they give, how oily you get in the middle of the day with this versus that one. This has a lot of oil in it.
I can appreciate that she doesn't go off on how much she hates the company, but tries to stay unbiased. The fact is, according to her, it dried out extremely quickly, and the presenters knew the 3D formula mascara formula could be better until the Younique 4D lash mascara came out about a year ago. The 4D formula apparently sold out in 3 hours, though I have no doubt this is due to 1 million presenters worldwide stocking up more than it's due to their customers. Even when this one beauty blogger actually managed to make them look presentable on day 2 out of 3 trying it, there was still apparently a ton of fallout. These lashes are their claim to fame, or perhaps infamy would be better used here. But their unique fibrous brush is to blame. Those little black strands and stringy bits on their brushes are supposed to give you volume, but instead they leave such an odd texture that I personally find it extremely unflattering. Even Jessica on Total Beauty, though she had praise for the product in saying that it brought her confidence, it looks really clumpy to me. Maybe she likes them that way. Maybe I'm wrong because I'm not a makeup artist and this is the look people are going for now. I just know that personally, this isn't a product I'd pay $29 for any day, especially not if it leaves me at risk for an eye infection. Younique hasn't addressed these concerns, so you might want to be real careful when using that fibrous brush so that none of it gets in your eye. Of course, it's not just the spider lashes and the crunchy lashes that make waves. On Facebook and YouTube, the whole Sharpie on the face example was pretty viral for a few years back, and one way that Younique presenters showcase their product. Personally, I find the whole thing a bit gimmicky. It was their way of telling customers that the foundation is full coverage, but why not use actual skin? I don't want to know if my foundation can conceal a bunch of flowers and patterns scribbled on my face. I want to know if it can cover texture, facial scarring, redness, blotchiness, you know, the things people actually buy foundation for. This is more of an irritant to me than anything, but I think it shows that the presenters have been trained to get clicks and views or to be noticed for shock value rather than actual value in their product. In terms of wearability rather than just covering Sharpie, unfortunately, it didn't fare that well. Once you sift through presenters and look at unbiased opinions, the foundation looks greasy, oily, crusty, and even when it supposedly dries down to a matte powder and a perfect finish, it's not really that great. Again, this could just be a matter of personal opinion on the foundation, but the shade range is without a doubt insulting. I count 12 shades that could potentially work on fairer skin, 4 for maybe a medium skin, and 3 for a darker skin tone. The Maybelline Fit Me, which is $30 cheaper by the way, has 40 shades. And there's just really no excuse for this. Companies have shown more and more recently how important representation is in wide shade ranges. If Younique is all about empowering women, then why not represent all women? I'm not saying they're the only company that's had this problem, but at least Tarte isn't going out and saying that they're all about the sisterhood, empowering and validating women, and then pulling this kind of shit. I mean, this is supposed to be the best science and nature have to offer, but they're not even vegan and they're not cruelty-free. This eyeshadow palette has carmine in it, which we all know from our deep dive on Morphe, and a quick Google search once again just to refresh memories here is crushed beetles. And on top of that, it costs $52 for this. $52. It's an insane markup because they're not only accounting for the ingredients and profits, but for the seller's commission. This is what happens when you don't just pay your employees a living wage like a normal business. Customers pay $13 for each eyeshadow. For comparison, Fenty, Too Faced, Pat McGrath, Bare Minerals, Urban Decay, Anastasia, Beverly Hills, NARS, all are more established brands with palettes cheaper than that, and a lot cheaper too. Each one has a palette under $30, usually with more shades too. So you'd actually have to double their price to get into Younique's range. And to make matters worse, one YouTuber that goes by ShanXO went to make a makeup review of this foundation. Before her review was even released, she put up a little Snapchat with a video of the product in her hand. She did just a little preview, like the kind of stuff YouTubers normally do when they announce there's a new video coming soon, at least all like the makeup gurus. Well, Younique presenters apparently ran with this, screenshotted the snap, and began posting it to Facebook with how ShanXO endorses their product before the video was ever even posted. How is this all about the sisterhood again? They lied to try and boost their sales with no consideration to ShanXO and her audience. It's just another example of the aggressive tactics that are condoned and promoted in MLMs. Oh, and speaking of lies, we're going to jump into Younique's biggest one in terms of makeup, the greenwashing. In case you haven't heard of this term before, it's used to describe companies that claim to be natural and ethical but really aren't what they seem to be. Sometimes this can get into illegal lawsuit territory if a company goes too far, and big surprise here, but Younique stepped into that territory in 2017. They used to claim that their infamous 3D mascara before it became 4D were actually made from 100% green tea fibers, and this was just a straight up lie because the fibers were actually nylon. Didn't know how they thought they could get away with this one, but they did. And just in case we've got like some people that are a little slow to catch up to what nylon is synthetic. I feel like I have to say that because someone's going to go, I don't know what nylon is. So nylon synthetic, okay? It's not made of green tea is the point. In August 2019, Younique and the plaintiffs agreed to a settlement under which the makeup company would pay $3.25 million to resolve the claims against them. Younique has not admitted any wrongdoing under the settlement. As much as I really want to count this as a win, it's barely a dent in companies like this. They made a bold-faced lie, paid $3 million, and did not issue any sort of formal apology or explanation. The final hearing was set for April 6th of this year, but obviously with everything going on, I'm guessing that's been postponed. Needless to say, it's one thing to have an or below average product that makes spidery lashes, but it's another when a company lies to their customers and doesn't even seem to have a problem with it. Apparently, Younique presenters will still misrepresent the product and say it's cruelty-free and write vegan-friendly on their posts despite products not being certified. As long as their eyeshadow palettes, as we saw before, still have carmine in them, it's simply not going to happen. If they want to work on a solution, great. If they decide not to sell in mainland China, great. But consumers deserve to know if a product is actually cruelty-free or not. People have ethical stances on this sort of thing that deserve to be respected. I'm not saying that every single thing, every product I own, I know for a fact is cruelty-free or vegan. Not everyone may be able to be that conscientious or cares to be. But for the people that care and want to be with what they buy, they should be able to know what's in their products. It's a matter of transparency that seems so difficult here for Younique because there's a million different presenters giving information rather than just the company themselves. blog gives some examples of that and writes the following. A now defunct member replied with, Younique is currently in the process to be certified animal safe / cruelty free. We are not as of yet on Leaping Bunny, but that does not mean we won't be in the near future. When updates are asked for, her answers from her fellow Y sisters include no animal testing, but we are not certified, and I don't believe Younique is going to seek cruelty-free certification. I think they are just going to keep things the way they are. It's not as if Younique is just struggling to get certified. They aren't certified for a reason. Let's stop with the, oh, we haven't pursued a certification that Younique and its presenters push here, alright? Because it's getting old. You are not cruelty-free certified because you are either A, not cruelty-free and test on animals, or sell to countries that require it, or B, you refuse to be transparent and honest about business practices that would give you the ability to have this certification. Enough with the half-truths, okay? And finally, I've saved the best for last, or worse, depending on how you see it, I guess. Younique says one thing that makes them different is their charity attached to their company, the Younique Foundation. They were founded to combat child sex abuse with things that are like the Haven Retreat in order to help survivors heal from their trauma. On the surface, this sounds incredible. A few days away in Utah or Georgia to get a safe space and to find a support group seems so helpful. On their foundation website, they state that as long as you were sexually abused before the age of 18, you qualify to apply for the Haven Retreat. That is a little bit concerning to me. I mean, if someone was sexually abused at age 18, it seems a little harsh to turn them away when, again, you're about empowering women and helping victims, but if they're focusing on the childhood aspect of this problem, I can't be too upset. One cause at a time, I suppose. The real issue is that while a former Hunbot for Younique says they used this to spread information like wildfire, their actual donations don't even make up for 1% of the company's sales. The Younique Foundation was given under $4 million in 2016, a year that Younique made over $400 million. The Our Story page on the Younique Foundation says the following. The Younique Foundation and Younique products are separate entities which operate independently of each other. We are profoundly grateful for the generous support we receive from Younique products, their founders, employees, and presenters. Although, according to a former Hunbot on blog and posted on Facebook, it once read, the Younique Foundation is proudly grateful for the relationship we have with Younique Products. Younique Products LLC was founded by Derek Maxfield and Melanie Huscroft. One of the original purposes of founding the cosmetics company was to fund the foundation. Younique Products' mission is to uplift, empower, and validate women everywhere, including sexual abuse survivors specifically. The generous support of Younique Products and their presenters is tremendously valuable, and it is impossible to calculate the amazing impact of their support. Although the Younique Products company is deeply committed to supporting the Younique Foundation, it is important to note that the foundation was not established to support the company or sell cosmetics. Inevitably, the two will be linked, but the foundation is 100% focused on helping abuse survivors and is not distracted by the need to promote Younique products. Deeply committed and less than 1% of sales? How can you say that in one post that one of the purposes of your company is to support the foundation and then in 2016 give so little to them? Worse than that, the Younique Foundation as well as their Defend Innocence charity have been notorious for not being upfront and how much they actually get from Younique. And their tacky Defend Innocence makeup bundle seriously rubs me the wrong way. It feels like it's profiting off other people's pain. One ex-employee says the Younique Foundation, it's a tax haven. For 3 weeks a month, they host adult female survivors of childhood sexual abuse at week-long retreats where they eat fancy food and do yoga and meet other people who were abused as children. And that's it, a week. Each retreat only hosts something like 15 women. Only the smallest, tiniest amount from Younique's products actually goes to the Younique Foundation. I've seen it from the inside. It's a front to make Younique sound indefinitely more philanthropic than it actually is. On top of this, the Younique Foundation doesn't provide therapy, as it states on their first question in their FAQs. So if it's all about relaxing, meditation, makeovers, but what about, well, like, the healing? There's no therapy, no talking about trauma, just very surface level spa days from what I can tell. And to top it all off, one of the founders, Shalane Maxfield, has typecast these survivors, so you can get a picture of what they really think of people in need of their services. A casting call for someone to be in an advertisement is one thing, but the whole they need to be edgy with visible tattoos, piercings, or edgy or colored hair is preferred bit, yeah. Because let's stereotype what sexual abuse victims look like. Are you actually kidding me? You cannot claim to care about supporting women, then group them into a little bubble like this, give them a day spa, and make it go away. If you really want to get different looking people for a Younique foundation ad, fine. But this leaves a really, really bad taste in my mouth, especially when it's coming from someone so high up, literally, the president of the foundation. In short, Younique is another MLM with shady practices that just ticks me off. They have aggressive sales techniques, lie about what's in their product, and don't seem to care about a cruelty-free status, and only donate to their basic, pretty shallow charity. If you want to help victims of childhood sexual abuse, I'd look into nctsn.org and rain.org instead, rather than count on the less than 1% of your makeup sales to help somebody like that. Buy a much cheaper eyeshadow palette and use what you save to donate to a cause that counts. Honestly, it'll make a much bigger difference too, but of course that's just my opinion. But anyways guys, that's where I'm going to end today's video. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you guys want more content from me, you can pop open that description box. You're going to find links to all of my social media, second channel for my puppy Casper, the collaboration channel with Sad Milk, links for literally everything will be down below. So again guys, thank you so much for making it to another video. I love you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!